All right, I'm back with another confessional for Big Brother Rewind. Right, I have a couple notes for this week, so I apologize ahead of time if this is kind of long. All right, I'm gonna start with, I guess, the beginning of this last HOH, Swan's HOH. I guess to start things off, a little while back, I won the sloth fruit, the advantage, which if it wasn't used by this week, at the end of the week, the eviction gets canceled automatically. And, with that meant anything that happened this week didn't matter. So I was hoping we could figure something out. Like, I suggested to the team, the Alliance, that we throw the HOH competition so then someone on the other side of the house wins and we could, see where their head's at, see which people they nominate. But even if, even Swan tried and won, but everyone else, even us trying to throw it, we all got better scores than everyone else on the other side. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, we can't even throw it to these people. So, Swan wins, and now the plan is Swan nominates people within the Alliance because at the end of the week, it doesn't matter. I found out later that some people weren't sure something like if my advantage would work or not. So no one else besides me volunteered to be up on the block because they were scared if I was lying or if, I don't know, if just something wasn't gonna work. But regardless, Swan wins HOH. She nominates me and someone on the other side. During all this, Swan revealed her power, which was she is able to compete in a competition no matter what. So that means, as outgoing HOH, she could compete if she wanted to. If she wasn't nominated for the veto, she could play. But she won HOH, so she could play every competition. It didn't end up really mattering. Murdo revealed he also had an advantage, and he said it had already expired. But his was he could nominate a third person, and if they can guess who nominated them in secret, then Murdo would go up. But again, he said it was expired. So after Swan puts up her two nominations, a third nomination does end up going up, and we found out either Murdo was lying that his thing expired, or he was just wrong. But whatever it was, the third person went up, and now there are three of us on the block again. Because of my power, none of this really matters. Then comes the veto, and Otev comes out. That was a lot of fun. I didn't think I was gonna win it. There were a couple times I thought I was gonna get the wrong answer or be last, but I ended up, getting to the final round and guessing wrong. But I had asked that third nominee, I think it was Murray, I asked him to just throw it. And I said I would take him off, and then he did it. I was actually really surprised. I didn't think he would. But, during the veto ceremony, I took him off. I said, you said you would throw it and you did it, so I take you off. And then Danny messaged me and he asked why I did it. And, I was just telling him oh, it's a secret, I have a plan, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, you have a power, don't you? So again, I just kept everything secret. And, I was just messing with him a little bit, but he told me, he was like, Julio, you're an intimidating player, you scare me. And I took that as a compliment, but I realized I had to kind of tone it down a bit, so I started talking to him just kind of casually, kind of normal, just so, I don't know, just to get on his good graces. Um, then, the vote comes around and my power comes into play. I think it was like 6 or 7 to 1, but they didn't say which way. But I honestly don't think I would have gotten voted out anyway. Like, maybe it's because they knew it wouldn't matter, but I don't know if I've even after the competition before where I won all the all the good positive things. I don't know why they're not. I don't know. It's funny. And now we're at the double eviction. So HOH comes around. I can't play because that's the penalty for my power for stopping the last eviction. And it's one of those games where you win the round, you take off 2 people. If I would have won, my strategy would have been keep those inactive people so I could win the HOH. But again, I couldn't play. And I got to the point where it was 3 people in my alliance and James. Swan wins and knocks the other 2 people out, so it's just her and James. And that's when everything just, I honestly thought it was gonna be a boring double eviction, but my alliance collapsed and I was waiting for this moment. I didn't think we were gonna get to final 5, but I didn't expect the double, and I just didn't expect this to happen. It was funny. Murdo jumped on the fact that because Swan lost, like James won the HOH, and there's a risk of one of us going home. And I really thought James was gonna put up like Omri and Murdo, but Swan convinced James to just keep it Omri and Denise, I think it was. But while this was happening, Murdo, pulled me and Omri aside and was like, Swan is being sketchy. Swan's working both sides. It was a fun moment because even though Swan made the final 2 with me, I was waiting for just the right time to be able to flip on everyone again because I want to keep things interesting. But like I know that I'm sad I didn't initiate it, but at the same time, like I'm glad that we could at least pin this on Murdo later. But I had no intention. I had a little bit of intention to take Swan to final 2, but again, I wanted him to be Omri and Ethan there with me at final 3, and then kind of let's duke it out there. But that's besides the fact. So James wins. He nominates Omri, Denise, and then things start going around that Swan or Murdo leaked the alliance to James because James is HOH. James originally wants Swan to be in an alliance with her and me, that she was saying. But then all of a sudden, James is telling me Swan's a snake. He just flipped on Swan. He wasn't originally going to backdoor her. And I think Murdo leaked. They were saying leaked the alliance, but I don't think that's true because he hasn't brought it up to me at all. He would be mad at me because he's mad at either Omri or Ethan. I think it's Omri. He's mad at Omri for being in multiple alliances and talking to people, but none of that anger is my way. And he's telling me, he's just being honest with me. He's telling me his plan and he's following through with what he's saying. And, he told me, he was honest with me and told me being final 2 with you, Julio, I'm gonna lose. But, I want to work with you. But I don't know if I could, promise you that. And, I respect that. I respect that he's saying, he's telling me, for my game, it's a bad idea to take you to the end. And I told him, I was like, if you cut me at final 3 or even final 5, like, I won't be mad because I understand why, because you're explaining it to me right now. But like right now, I could still benefit you. I could still help you, and I could help you get further. I could help get you to that point. And he's like, no, right now, I'm not gonna take you out. But, and then like all the Swan stuff started happening. He was like, you know what, Julio, screw it. I'm taking you to final 2. So again, like I know James was trolling me in the beginning with Ben, but I'm respecting him as a player. Like he definitely, I don't know, I'm not mad about anything from before. It was just early game, stupid stuff. He even apologized for like some of it. Like he's going out of his way to tell me like other alliances he's in, like, and like him, but just like him and Omri don't like each other. And you know, Omri's nominated. I win the veto, and you know, I need to take Omri down. Omri even was like, I don't know if I should ask you to like take me down, and because he knows how much James doesn't like him. But at this point, James wants to backdoor Swan already, and so I need to take one of them down. But I told Omri, like, I'm gonna take you down. I don't want to risk. I know Omri, like both James and Omri have my back so much, but they hate each other so much. But I told James that Omri promised me that neither of us would go on the block if he won HOH. And you know, James at first was like, don't take Omri down. But I told him, I was like, he's gonna protect us for a couple rounds. And I told Omri, I was like, just tell James you won't put him up. Like, you could be lying to him, I don't care. Just for this moment, so he's not upset with me. Like, just do this for me, please. Just tell him, like, and you know, Omri went out of his way to apologize. And even like again, he told it. So like that shows how much Omri trusts me, that he's willing to he's willing to do that for me. And you know, I pulled on Omri. James is completely okay with it. He gave me the go ahead to do it. And then Swan goes up, and you know, the backdoor goes into place. I think it's like 5-1. You know, I'm hoping maybe I could take credit for that one, even though I put up Swan, or even though I helped orchestrate all that. And you know, someone in my alliance finally went home, and you know, Murdo honestly would have been my first choice because I talked to him the least. But after today, I see he's playing the game. He was waiting for the right moment. I do think he possibly lied about his advantage being expired or not knowing. I think he knew, and oh my gosh, like it was a fun double eviction. You know, I couldn't have been happier. I think the four that in my alliance that are like working together, that are still working together. I don't think getting Swan out separated us, but you know, now looking at the numbers, it's me, Murdo, Omri, and Ethan in our alliance. And on the other side, it's Murray, Danny, and Denise, and James. But I have James in my pocket. I have Omri in my pocket. Murdo, I know, will continue to work with me because I helped with the Swan back blind side. Ethan, I have to pull back in. You know, if I win HOH this week, I can't win HOH this week. If I win HOH this week, I have to go easy and boring and put up Danny and Murray because my excuse being that I put them up my first HOH, you know? I won't get any extra blood on my hands. But then, you know, if one of them comes up, I'm gonna have to choose a side. And James is gonna expect me to put up on Omri, and Omri's gonna expect me to put up James. I can't put myself in that position yet. One of them needs to one of them can't win either, because then, I'll be the reason they went home in their eyes, because, or at least in like James, like, James trusted me to about the Omri thing. Now I could work that out, because I could say that if I didn't take down Omri, I would have taken down his other nominee. I think it was Denise. Swan would have gone up, she would have gone home anyway. The results would have been the same that week. This way, I at least tried to get a deal out of it. So I think I could, if Omri wins and James goes home, I think I could fix that. But if James wins, I have to make sure everyone else, if whoever is sitting next to Omri, everyone else votes for them, because I could still vote Omri in that situation and be like, yo, I voted how you wanted me to. I tried. If anyone else wins, it's fine. I don't want Murdo to win because he just took out Swan. Oh no, James is outgoing HOH. He can't win. Okay, well that fixes that. I just have to make sure Omri doesn't win. Anyone else is fine, even Danny, Denise, and Murray. I don't know if anyone would make a move against me right now, but I think I could keep myself off the block. But yeah, that was a crazy double eviction week. I had a lot of fun. I hope there's not a battle back, because I don't want to see Swan back. But I'm excited to see what's coming up. All right, until next time.